What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about some reasons why so many foreigners are moving here to Mexico. Now, foreigners coming here to Mexico is nothing new, especially coming from north of the border, United States and Canada. But this seems to be, in the past few years, I don't want to say a trend, but people are starting to see the benefits and the different positive things of coming here to Mexico. And there's a lot of them. We're going to go over a few of them. But yeah, it's happening a lot lately. I stay in tune with this, and I'm an expat myself. I'm from the United States, living here in Mexico, and, you know, putting my experience in there and putting the research that I put together, talking to other expats, hearing their stories. I mean, everybody's got their own story of why they came to Mexico, but I'm going to share with you the most common reasons why people from especially Western countries, not only Western countries, but predominantly Western countries, are moving here to Mexico. So this list is not going to be in any particular order. I'm just going to list out the things that I have seen and what seem to be the biggest reasons. So let's go straight into the first one. So let's start with the first one. And this one is the cost of living. Yes, I'm sure it's no secret to many of you all out there that Mexico, in comparison to Western countries, has a relatively low cost of living. And it's an advantage if you're coming here with other big currencies such as the euro, the British pound, the US dollar. I mean, or maybe even the Australian dollar as well, hold some weight against the Mexican peso. So what that means is if you want to relocate, you want to live somewhere cheaper, save your coins, and still have the advantage and live a good life without scrambling around for crumbs and pennies, then that is one of the best bets, coming to Mexico, or even other parts of Latin America, you know. But Mexico seems to be, I would say, more people in Latin America, foreigners, are moving to Mexico more than any other countries. Now, I'm sure you could pick out any country like Panama or Colombia, Brazil, Argentina. Of course, they have expats there, but Mexico, I think, is holding the crown right now. Now, remember, you know, Mexico has been open. They never closed during the whole health thing that we were locked down for 2 years. You know what I mean? So Mexico stayed open. They didn't require any tests, any jabs, nothing like that to get into the country. So people were feeling they wanted to get away from where they were and say, okay, well, I'm heading to Mexico. And people who working remotely were like, well, United States is all crazy, or maybe they're coming from Canada or wherever it was they were coming from. And they were like, I got to get out of here. You know, I got to get out of here. Mexico looks good to me. Cost of living is low. They're completely open. I'm out. Let's go. So that's what I think in the recent years, because it's been going on for a long time. You know, you've been hearing about American expats going down to border towns and even like beach towns, and all over Mexico. You can find foreigners, mainly Americans, because, you know, we're neighbors, and a lot of Canadians are here. You have a lot of Europeans, Germans, British, French. I mean, I've met all kinds of different expats, foreigners from different countries. So definitely, and anybody who's living in Mexico or been to Mexico or spent some time, you know that the cost of living, what you get for your dollar, is great. And you can get an extremely nice apartment. You can check out my other apartment videos that I showed you how you can live nicely for a lot less than you would in the US, and same quality of life, all the modern conveniences, everything. But yeah, that's what I think. Cost of living, that's definitely one of the reasons that made me come here or decide to just stay here. I mean, I'd been to Mexico a few times. You know, I know people here and everything like that. But when I saw like how reasonable it was, I'm like, should I go back to New York City? And I don't know about all that. Because in New York City, what I paid for this 2-bedroom apartment, I couldn't even get a decent room. You know, I'd be sharing it with roommates. So yeah, cost of living, definitely. So if you're thinking about coming to Mexico, just know the cost of living is extremely affordable, and you can find nice places for nice money. So let's get into number 2. So let's talk about number 2, and that is the laxed immigration laws and ease of attending your documents to remain in Mexico, to be a Mexican resident. Now, I'm not saying any old Joe Schmo can walk into the immigration office or a Mexican consulate and just say, hey, I want to go to Mexico. I want to be a resident. My name is John Smith. Okay, John, here's your residency. No, there are processes that you have to follow, but it's very straightforward. And Mexico is actually giving incentives in terms of making this very easy and creating new programs that have been created in the past couple of years to increase residents, because think about it. Mexico is one of the most visited countries in the world, over 40 million people a year. So they get that good tourism money, but they're starting to see the trend that, oh, a lot of people want to come here, stay for 6 months, go away, come back, stay for 6 months, spend most of their time here. Well, why don't we just make immigration easier so they can invest their money in this country? So, and that's another good thing too. I mean, all your money that you gain, if you're living here full time, you're putting it right back in the Mexican economy. So it's a smart move by the Mexican government, in my opinion, to do that. Now, that is definitely one of the biggest reasons. And some places they have crazy requirements. You got to go back and forth and this and that. And you can get residency without providing financial proof. The program that I use, and I break it down, and I did 2 videos, one on how I got my residency and another one on different types of residency you can get in Mexico. And they just asked me, how much do you make? And I told them how much I make in US dollars. Okay. There was no requirement. I didn't have to show them any bank statements, anything like that. It was completely straightforward. Now, of course, you know, government is bureaucratic, so some things will take longer than they tell you they will. But out of all, on the root of it, it's not difficult to get your residency here, and people are seeing that, and they're taking the opportunities. Retirees are retiring here, buying homes for great prices, building homes, living in a nice country. Mexico is a beautiful country, and finding great opportunities. Like, hey, why not? I mean, I'm unhappy where I am now. Why not go to Mexico? I mean, it looks great over there. So people are realizing that. So that's definitely one of the biggest reasons. And it's getting more popular. I just hope that doesn't get, you know, too touristy here. Like everywhere has become Cancun. But Mexico is a huge country. There's so many parts and different cities and towns and whatever, you know, tourist areas. I don't think they're gonna, how can I say, make every spot touristy. So, but yeah, definitely that is a big part of it. All right. So just know that if you want to come to Mexico, the paperwork is straightforward. They're not going to hassle you. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. All right. So let's get into the third one. Okay. So the third part is simply this. People want to leave their country. They're, you know, when in the last few years, things have been crazy. A lot of things have changed, and people just said, hey, I want to get out of here. I want to go somewhere else. And I heard the weather is good in Mexico this time of year. So people come here. They just want a change in their life. They want to leave their country for whatever reason they have. It can be a million reasons. We all have our own reasons, you know. But yeah, that's a big thing of it too. And that was just me too. Like, I want to be here because I prefer living here than the United States right now. I mean, it's just my preference. So I can understand somebody if they're not really feeling the current situation in their country and they want to make a move. Now, most people who have come here, who come here to live have spent a little bit of time here before. So a lot of expats that come here, a lot of foreigners, I'm not saying all, but a lot have visited. You know, they got the feel of Mexico and they like it. And this was like a no-brainer to them, you know? So, and another part to add to that is we're seeing a lot from the US and Canada because it's so close. So not only is it so close, a lot of Americans and Canadians want to get out of there. So that's why you see more Americans, Canadians than other expats, because it's just easier. It's closer, you know? So that's another reason. And I think it's legit. I mean, hey, if you're not happy somewhere and you have the ability to go somewhere else, why not? I mean, if you have nothing tying you to that place and you don't have anything that's like holding you back, go for it. Why not? I mean, you know, follow your heart. It's your life. Go for it. You know, we all need to do what's right for us. But definitely, that's definitely another one. People are just, you know, they want something new. And Mexico is really fresh, and the people are friendly. The food is amazing. A lot of natural beauty. I mean, we could talk for hours probably about how many things Mexico has to offer to anyone, you know, who wants to come here. So yes, I say definitely that's one of the biggest ones that I've talked to other expats. And as myself, I know personally that we just wanted to get up out of where we were and come to Mexico and live a peaceful life. And that's the situation. I'm living a peaceful life, and a lot of other foreigners who come here are too. Okay, so let's go to number 4. And that is, and I'm sure a lot of you won't be surprised with this, but the weather. Yes, the weather. Mexico has great weather. Now, let's keep in mind, Mexico is a huge country. It's one of the biggest countries in the world. So depending on where you are in the country is the kind of weather you're going to get. So let's say you like more warm and humid climate, then the Yucatan Peninsula will be perfect. I used to live in Yucatan, in Merida, and it's ridiculously hot, but some people love that. And there's beaches close by. People have pools and whatnot. But that's another attractive thing, especially people coming from parts of the north, like Canada, Northern Europe, United States, where we get the snowstorms. I grew up in New Jersey, so I know about the snowstorms. Remember my dad shoveling out snow just to get his car out so he can go to work. I mean, people get tired of that, so I can understand that. I grew up like that. But yeah, definitely the weather is very attractive. Now, as I said, Mexico's a big country. Now, when we talk about like springtime weather here in Guadalajara, that's the case for a good portion of the year. Very pleasant, nice and cool at night, nice and fresh during the day, a little bit of sun, not too hot, nothing crazy. It's not humid here in this part. So that's another attractive feature if you like that type of weather. If you like dry heat, then the north, that's like closer to the border states of Arizona and New Mexico and Texas. It's more dry heat because they have a good amount of desert land out there. So, hey, everybody is different. Everybody has their thing, right? I mean, if you like colder weather and you want to be at elevation, Mexico City. Mexico City you can get a few different seasons in one day. I've been there a couple of times and I can tell you, I was like, man, do I need a jacket or not? Like, I don't know what to do because it keeps switching. So you know that there's those different types. And then you have places that are like in the forest, and you have like in the countryside where the weather's nice and cool, not cold, but cool and chill, and people like that. So weather is a big factor. And I mean, and I understand coming from the Northeastern United States, growing up with the cold weather, below zero, blizzards and all that. I mean, hey, I can't blame people. Before it was Florida. Everybody was going to Florida to get the nice weather. You know what I mean? But now it's like, nope. Texas is the new Florida. So when you meet like a Canadian and a Canadian expat here or an American one, and a lot of the times, and I've talked to them, they'll tell me, yeah, I can't do the weather anymore. I can't do the winters. I just can't. So I'm done. So to no surprise to many of you out there, that was another big reason. All right. So let's get into the next one. So let's talk about number 5. And this one is culture. Yes. Culture in Mexico is very rich, and Mexico has a rich cultural history, rich history in general. And when you come here and you travel around the country and you get to experience some of the tradition and customs, you're just like, wow, this is amazing, you know? And I can identify with that because I lived in Brazil for 3 years. And before I went to live there for 3 years, I visited twice, spent some time. I learned Portuguese prior to going there. I mean, I just fell in love with it. I went to Brazil the first time. I'm like, I love this place. This is a dream come true. I went back. The people are amazing, and the culture and the history, everything. So many people feel that way about Mexico too. And that could be their main reason for going. They could be people who work remotely and don't really need to stay in their home country and want to be around that Mexican culture, want to interact with Mexican people all the time and consume Mexican products and do, you know, the traditional Mexican festivities or anything related to Mexico. But definitely a lot of expats talk about being the culture. Like, hey, I fell in love with the culture. The people were so amazing. And I can identify with that. I mean, that's a good way. That's a good reason. Like, you like the environment. You like the country. You know, any country that I've been to, well, most countries that I've been to, I could definitely live there, most of them. And I think that because there's something about it that attracts you, like, you know, you have a good experience, the people treat you well. I don't know, the food is amazing, whatever it may be. It can be like that for anyone in any country. So I can definitely understand that that's a big factor. You know, people just want to be in the culture. You know what I mean? And, you know, Mexican culture, Mexican food, you can't go wrong with Mexican food. You can't. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased and I live in Mexico. If anybody knows me and anybody knows my mom can ask, I've loved Mexican food and spicy food since I was a kid. So I can identify with that. Definitely the culture here is amazing and the people are great. And that, to me, makes sense why people want to be around that, want to live around that. Because some people may come from countries where people are more conservative and don't really communicate so much and aren't as friendly. You know, every country has their different culture. So definitely culture is another one. I mean, there's a million of them, but I just wanted to give you all the top 5 that I've been seeing. Now, if any of you all think of any more that you could send me, you know, you want to put in the comments below, definitely let me know and I can make a second video if you like this one. I know there are other reasons. I just wanted to give you a quick 5 as to what I see is happening, or the most case with foreigners, the biggest reasons that I have. And, you know, they're all legit. They're all legit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you already know if you did, hit that like and subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. I will definitely respond back to you. And thank you for taking your time to listen to me talk about this subject. So until the next video, you wonderful people stay wonderful, stay safe, and I'll catch you later. Peace.